Did that thought come from my ego, or did it come from my intuition? That is the question. Very dramatic Shakespearean start to the video. So, I've got a few ideas, as to how to introduce this subject. The thing I teach clients a lot is when a thought comes from fear, it's coming from the ego. And if a thought comes from love or neutrality, it's coming from you. Test it out. It's true. Of course, if a fearful thought comes in, how does it make you feel? Well, it makes your emotional body just go, ah, a little bit, and we don't like it. Therefore, if we don't like it, that's not to say that things that we don't like we shouldn't do, but if we don't like it naturally in our being, is it really true for us? Is it true universally? My answer would be no. We're given this kit, aren't we, of excitement or of emotion. It's our guiding system. That's why highly sensitive people have a blessing, because they're guided to things that other people aren't picking up on, which is great. Downsides to being highly sensitive too, but swings and roundabouts, huh? So, if it doesn't feel good, is it really true? Well, our guidance system, our emotional guidance system would say no. So if it comes from fear, it's coming from the ego. And if it's coming from love or neutrality, it's coming from you. Well, with that basis understood, we've got a good foundation, haven't we? So what we want to look at then, to know, to decipher, to see whether it's coming from the ego or if it's coming from the intuition, we need something a little more. One, we need willingness, right? We need willingness and an attitude of, I'm going to get this, and I'm not going to stop until I get it, because without that attitude, none of this stuff's really going to help you. But if we come to that point, because we tend to be this way as humans, don't we, where life has to back us into the wall before we're ready to take action and actually change, and that's fine that it goes that way. You don't have to go that way, and if you don't want to go that way, you're more than welcome to join us down below for the sadhana. Sadhana just means the daily spiritual practices to bring about the highest aliveness and intensity of energy in the system, to bring about the highest potential in your life. They're daily practices. I'm going to set up some group calls for more people to join in at a more affordable price, but for now, if you'd like it, there's one-to-one coaching down below. I give you the sadhana on the back end, the practices on the back end, and we talk one-to-one. We go deeper into what's going on inside of you. Of course, as well, there's a free community down below and a free breathing practice should you wish to sign up. So, there's something we need to know. One, like I mentioned before, we need to have the right attitude for this. We need to have come to that point in life where we've felt enough pain that we're ready to just say, right, I'm fed up with the ego. I'm now going to find out what the hell is going on here. I need to listen and decode my thoughts and see what I should be listening to and what I shouldn't be listening to. It's like music, right? You listen to the music you like. Why? Because you like it. You're not going to force yourself to listen to music that you don't like. Well, you might. But if you do that, you're bonkers. No, I'm kidding. But you know what I mean, right? Why would we force ourselves to listen to something that we don't want to do? Worse, why would we believe it to be true, meaning the ego now? This voice inside of our head is never usually nice to us. In time, it will become your best friend. But for now, we need to see. So, the mind has two aspects to it. I say the mind, and I separate the mind and the ego now. The mind itself has two aspects to it. There's the thinking mind, thoughts, and some of us have a tendency to, rather than observe the thoughts, we like to, let's say a negative thought comes in, we like to attack those thoughts with more thoughts, but then we never leave this mental realm, do we? We're just a mental being walking around this planet, and that's it. That's our highest thing that we become, and that's fine if that's what people like, and we see 95% of the population like that, and that's fine, and they're welcome to continue that until they have enough pain and they realise, this mind is painful, isn't it? So we get to the second aspect of the mind, the feeling sense of the mind. I asked a client yesterday, can you feel thoughts? And he was took aback. He was like, that's a good question. And I'm like, I know, that's why I said it. But it's a strange question, isn't it? Can you feel a thought? Well, we can definitely think thoughts, and we can attack our thoughts. Oh, these thoughts aren't good enough for me. Why am I thinking this? So blah, 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 and get very confused. But can you feel a thought? And he sat there and he said, I don't know. You can feel thoughts. And let me prove it to you. Sometimes, if you're aware enough, you can even feel the intention of a thought. You know those thoughts that pop up and it's like, it's going to be some self-critical thought, or it's going to be judging somebody, and you catch it mid-flow, you catch the intention, oh, I know where this thought's going, and we just let it run on, because we don't know what to do, right? Sometimes we just don't know better. Well, can you feel thoughts? Yes, sometimes you can even feel the intention of them. But what do I really mean? Well, first aspect of the mind, thinking. Fine, but thinking causes us pain most of the time. Can we feel the thoughts that cause pain? What do I mean? And you have to be willing to do this. This isn't going to be for everyone, but to know the difference between the ego and the intuition, this is important. Can you feel the flavour of a thought? Well, let's say something negative comes in. Jamie, you're stupid. You're never going to get this girl you want. Blah, 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 blah. How does that feel? How do these thoughts feel? Well, can we feel the thought? Maybe we can feel the vibration of the thought bubbling up in the head. Yes, that's witnessable, but that's not really what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is, can I feel how it feels to have this thought inside of me? Jamie, you're rubbish. Oh, that does not feel good. This is where the mind becomes distinct from mental, because there's a feeling aspect to it too. We call this in yoga the mental, Manamaya Kosha, meaning the mental body, and the Vignamaya Kosha, meaning the intuitive body, meaning can we intuit these thoughts? Is this thought healthy for me? Well, if it's not healthy for me, we know it's ego, right? How do we know it's not healthy for me? Well, because it's full of calories. No, I'm joking. Because it makes us feel rubbish. Have you ever had one of those moments where a new idea, a new perspective has bubbled up on a little bubble of bliss? Oh yeah, like that. This is the Vignamaya Kosha, the intuitive sheath, the intuition. Sometimes the spiritual ego might sit in meditation and wait for an intuition, as if I'm not going to do anything until this intuition comes, because the intuition will be the next step. But sometimes intuition doesn't come like that, does it? It's spontaneous. We know this. So, is it coming from fear? If it's coming from fear, it's coming from the ego. Does this thought feel good? If it doesn't feel good, we can intuit, yeah, that's ego. These thoughts are no good for me. I'm going to stop listening to those thoughts. This is ego. Intuition. Does the thought feel good? If it feels good, it's intuition. If it bubbles up on a bubble of bliss, one of these thoughts, it's definitely intuition, and I would advise that you act on it. That's what we call inspired action. The bubble of bliss and that thought comes up. That's the inspiration that we need, right, to then go and put it into physical action so that we can manifest the benefit of that intuitive thought in the external world. I hope this helps. I don't know if it did, but that's how to know between the difference between the ego, an egoic thought, and an intuitive thought. So now you know. And with that, you can go out armed into your day, hopefully with a little more self-belief, because we all know this stuff, I'm not telling you anything you don't already know. So there you go. At least here, I could be your mirror and reflect back to you what you already know. So have a lovely evening, because I know I'm going to.